we've finally reached the end.
Hello and welcome to the final video where we'll be asking the question, who tells the best scary story in Are You Afraid of the Dark? You heard me right. It's all come to this. After 6 seasons and 78 episodes, we're down to our final 10 stories. Now, hold on. I know that there's still the Tale of the Silver Sight and the 2019 reboot series, and I do plan on covering all of those, but they play out a little different than the episodes that fit this style of video. Instead of the Midnight Society telling stories, the stories happen to the Midnight Society members in the reboot series. And as for the Tale of the Silver Sight, well, that is a 3-episode story that acts as a finale for this entire series. I decided those episodes will be done separately, as if they're a movie rather than a story, and you can watch that video right now. As of uploading this, our coverage for the Tale of the Silver Sight will be available to watch for members only, and for all you non-members, well, I'm gonna make you wait a long time. 4 days. That video will be live in 4 days for everyone else, unless you become a member or get a $1 movie pass. You know, I'm just saying. And also don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. And that's a lot of plugs, I know. Sorry. We also have some merch, the last plug. Anyway, back to the video. The Midnight Society of the Revival stays the same across the 2 seasons, so we'll hear stories from Tucker, Megan, Vange, Andy, and this Midnight Society's current champ, Quinn. Will the final season of the series stick the landing, or is it a season better left forgotten? Let's find out and figure out once and for all the answer to the question of these videos. Who tells the best scary story in Are You Afraid of the Dark? While last season definitely won me over, there was one thing that we were missing that every other season of this series has had. We never got our tragic love story. Megan might be blonde, but I mean, that's really the only thing she had in common with Sam and Kristen from the original run. Well, that is, until now. Megan tells us our first story of the season with the tale of the Stone Maiden. And immediately in the intro, we're shown a statue of 2 lovers just as a construction crew comes by and packs up the man statue, separating it from the maiden. When they're separated, a trickle of water seeps from the maiden's cup. And I have to mention this because weirdly, the water is the thing that gets people tripped up a little bit later on in the episode. Like it shouldn't be. But just remember, the water wasn't pouring before the statues were separated. So this is a new development. The statues are the cold open, so for the majority of the episode, we follow a young new couple named Julie and Kevin.
Come on, make some funny faces. Oh, this way. Great.
Their relationship is so heavy-handed, it's really funny. They mention they've only been dating for 3 months, but this is true love, and they are meant to be together. But we've got the classic trope where Kevin's parents are very straight-laced and Julie is an artsy-fartsy type, so he's worried they'll judge her, and this causes some dramatics every once in a while.
They're not used to people like you.
It's incredibly basic in a way that feels purposeful. Like, the relationship is just a quick device that they'll use to move the story forward, and it really is just treated like a tool. It's not bad, it just frames this love story in a way that the show hasn't before, and I like that. The episode isn't terribly scary, but there is some really good stuff early on. While Kevin and Julie take some pictures, we can notice a man is standing in the bushes behind them and just watching them.
Did you see it?
The episode never calls attention to this. We'll see that picture later on, but it's so cool that you can catch this guy creeping up before we've ever been introduced to him. After the photo, Kevin and Julie get into a little argument about his parents, and Kevin ends up stomping off into the woods while Julie heads home. Unfortunately, Kevin's got a real talent for getting lost, because after like 15 seconds of him walking, he just has no idea where he's wound up or how to get out of the woods. But boy is he thirsty, and would you look at that, there's a statue of a lonely woman that has a small trickle of water coming out. How convenient. Kevin grabs himself a drink, but immediately regrets it.
I shouldn't have done that.
After drinking, his stomach begins to hurt. Then he's approached and chased by someone that we don't see, and he's forced to go deeper into the woods. That night, Julie calls Kevin to apologize, but his parents say he never made it home. And the next day at school, Kevin is once again missing, and his parents have come by to officially say that he's missing, and, of course, to throw a little bit of shade at a teenage girl.
I'm Julie.
Where's my son?
I don't know.
He hasn't been the same since he met you, young lady. If you had anything to do with this...
Honey, this won't solve anything. Come on.
Up until now, we've gotten a few glimpses of this homeless dude that looks like a slightly more put-together version of Clint Howard. He was the man that we saw creeping in the photo, and he enters the story in such a terrifying way. Julie goes searching for Kevin at the park near the woods, but then stumbles on this homeless dude that just starts chasing her immediately. That is so scary. I mock older shows a lot for having really lame chase scenes. Even just last season, I remember the Tale of the Zombie Dice had like a really laughable sequence. But this episode is a great example of how to make a chase scene quick, but really impactful with its horror. The homeless guy only screams before they both take off in a dead sprint. Then, showing the man from behind her, slowly catching up and then veering off the trail and out of our observation, just enhances the feeling of helplessness that Julie must be feeling right now. It's short, but it's a really good and effective chase. It ends as the homeless guy catches up and shouts that he swears he's not trying to hurt Julie, and he just wanted to tell her that he knows where Kevin is and is willing to take her to him. And when we see Kevin, it turns out that his relationship isn't the only thing that's been rocky lately.
This is not funny. Who are you?
The homeless guy is named Henry, and he swears that he saw Kevin drink the water from the Maiden statue and then turned to stone.
And then he looked sick. I tried to help him, but he just got up and he ran. And then you saw what happened.
On the statue of the Maiden, there's a plaque with the artist's name, so they look her up, and the new dynamic duo of the homeless guy and the child head off to solve this stony mystery. When they meet the artist, they sort of ramble about how they think her statue turned someone into stone, and then realize they must sound crazy, so they decide to just leave. But the artist stops them before they go too far, because, what do you know? She believes them.
Oh, now.
Wait! Turning people to stone is exactly what she does.
As a super side note, Henry the homeless guy has a big thing about recycling, and Vivian, the artist lady, she makes art out of recycled materials. So, I mean, just planting a little seed here, and then we can move on. Vivian tells Julie the story of her statue. It's about two lovers who were doomed and knew the only way to keep their love alive was to drink a potion that would turn them both to stone. After seeing a photo of the original, Julie asks where the maiden's lover is on Vivian's statue.
Why didn't you sculpt him too?
I did. Are we talking about the same statue?
Yeah, that's her, but she's alone. There's no boy statue.
This is news to Vivian, and she calls the city and learns that her sculpture was split up for budgetary reasons. Politics. That's the true horror of this episode. Friggin' politics. And in real life. Oh, also this is where that mention of the trickle of water comes into play.
At least it still works.
What do you mean?
The water pump, they didn't break it.
There's no water pump in my statue.
Yes, there is. Water pours out of her vase. I saw it.
I promise you, Julie, there is no water pump in my statue.
Oh, there's no water pump in the statue. Every adult that learns this is just focused on the water from now on, and not the turning to stone part. Then Henry just starts to go off on this insane rant about how they'll have to reunite the statues to make Kevin no longer stone. He's right in the end, but it's so wild how crazy he ends up sounding in this little monologue. Like especially if you remember, this is just a homeless dude that Julie found in the park earlier that day.
It's just a story.
Maybe. Or maybe the statue doesn't like to be apart from its mate. Hey, if she gets him back, then maybe she'll let Kevin go.
Vivian joins the group, and they go to the construction warehouse factory place that was hired to move the statue. And what perfect timing, because they're shipping off that removed half right now, like literally right as they bring it up. A truck with the statue in its back takes out of the lot. This part made me laugh so hard. Of course, Julie is the protagonist here, so we've got to make her the hero. That means she'll need to chase down a truck, but she can't drive. So they decide to put a bike rack full of bikes here. Just in the middle of the parking lot of a very grown-up construction worker factory place. It doesn't fit. All right? People ride bikes. People who do construction and stuff, they can ride bikes. I know that. You're not going to put a bike rack in the middle of the parking lot of your construction zone. You're putting it off to the side somewhere. But Julie grabs one of the bikes for the chase, and this part killed me.
Hey, that's my bike!
What? Julie stole the worker's bike? You telling me this dude rides this bike to work at his construction job every day? This dude rides a Julie-sized bike? It caught me so off guard. It just caught me off guard, and then the way he shouts that, hey, that's my bike, it just made him feel like he'd been bullied in the past and had his bike stolen before, and he's like reliving that. This poor dude. This whole scene was hilarious. All right. Anyway, Julie is able to get in front of the truck and stop it before it gets too far away, and while she's explaining the situation, Henry takes action and just straight up steals the truck. Then, in a transition scene, he's suddenly in the woods again and has somehow single-handedly dragged the statue back to where it belongs. Just this homeless dude was able to lift this statue thing by himself. He is Superman. No, he's homeless. He's Hancock. There you go. There's a callback for you. Who remembers Will Smith's homeless superhero movie? I do. Everyone, including the construction dudes, follow after Henry, and when he shows them the trickle of water, once again, all of these dudes are just stumped for some reason.
There ain't no water pump in that statue.
Unfortunately, replacing the statue didn't cause Kevin to turn back into a human, so Julie gets all sad and then says that she loves him and kisses him on the cheek, and that's what works. So we watch as Kevin transforms back from being a statue.
Please, Kevin, come back to me.
For a little bit of wrap up, we see a bit later that Henry and Vivian have started dating, and the relationship between Julie and Kevin is going strong. And then the episode ends with a kiss.
So the Stone Maiden and her boyfriend got back together, the way they were always meant to be.
I would say this episode isn't great, but it is really entertaining. There's just no nuance in any of the story. Like, the relationship is super heavy-handed, and then the dynamic duo of the homeless guy and Julie just sort of go off on crazy ideas and stumble into a solution. Then it all ending with a true love's kiss, like literally out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure it's purposeful, but it was clear to me that the tropes and moments were put into this episode just to please an expected criteria of a love story. It made moments feel kind of funny and surreal at times, but mostly just kept things moving rather than focusing on like an in-depth love story. I had a good time watching it, but the story will definitely only be a 5 out of 10 at the best. And I mentioned in the intro that it's not really scary. The stuff with the homeless guy early on is great horror. Him just creeping in the bushes and then that chase sequence are like genuinely great moments, but those were really about it. And that's like all there is for the horror in this one. So for the scares, I'm just gonna go with a 3 out of 10. And I'll also give 2 bonus points. 1 for that shot of the homeless guy in the bushes. Like it's the kind of observation that makes rewatches of these kinds of shows so fun, and him being there the whole time, it's a great detail. And the second point will go to the world's most bullied construction worker. I really hope he got his bike back.
Bonus.
That will leave Megan and the tale of the Stone Maiden with a total score of 11 out of 25. Like I said, it's not the best score, but we finally got our love story, and it was a really fun one. Much like tragic love stories, there's another trope that we've seen quite a bit of in both the original and this revival series. That being stories about sibling rivalries. This theme has been a constant for Tucker, his stories usually consisting of siblings that are forced to see each other in a new light due to scary story circumstances. But while this trope might be familiar, this story is, well, it's definitely unique, and it has a really fun sci-fi twist, which you can tell from the title alone, as Tucker sparks up the fire to tell us the tale of the laser maze. This story is about 2 twin sisters named Kara and Ashley. Not identical twins, but they are sisters born on the same day at the same time. Twins, just like Danny and Arnold. And they love to compete against each other in everything, but most of all, karate.
Break!
We open with a Taekwondo competition between the 2 sisters, and the choreography here is both impressive and really funny. When they do the actual fight parts, it looks pretty decent. The girls are throwing kicks and ducking and weaving. It's pretty well done. But then they have these close-up shots of them just like moving from side to side and pretending to fight, and those shots are really funny looking. The fight ends with Ashley as the victor.
Yi, you must bow, it shows respect.
What is sore loser? Well, you're a sore winner. Hey, don't get all mad just because I'm better than you.
After karate practice, the girls are approached by, well, this dude that looks like an alternate dimension Austin Powers. Oh, wait, I've got another one. They're approached by a guy that looks like he's dressed up as every member of Mystery Inc. at the same time. Gotta wonder where his Scooby tail is, though.
Super.
This dude is named Drake, and he owns a company that makes the universe's most popular adventure game called Laser Maze. He's even got a really cool light-up business card, so we know he's legit. He says that he was watching the sisters battle and thinks they'll be perfect candidates to playtest the latest version of his game. And next we see the girls head to the studio and get a quick tour and tutorial on how to play Laser Maze. The set here is pretty fun, but it's also clearly just a laser tag arena that they rented out to shoot for this episode. There's some good and bad that comes with that. The good is that I do think it looks pretty great, but the bad is every time they battle, there's like weird rapid camera work and constantly flashing lights. It's a little bit much.
The button on your vest releases the laser from your goggles. The laser comes from the goggles. You aim by looking.
Cool.
Super. Direct the laser at your opponent's vest. The first to score 3 hits is the winner.
And speaking of laser tag, this game is literally just that, but instead of having guns, They have glasses that shoot out laser beams. It's better than using small laser bats like we saw in that wolf episode. But man, them just having to look at each other really takes away from some of the intensity the battle scenes have. It's literally just them jumping around corners and victoriously staring at one another before running off and hiding to do it again. It's pretty funny. While the girls are fighting, we see that Drake is staring at some strange screens covered in stats from the girls. And after a few minutes, Kara is able to claim a victory, but she's shocked when Ashley seems to vanish right before her eyes after being shot.
What an amazing victory!
That was so cool. But where's Ashley?
All part of the game. She'll be back for round 2.
Round 2?
Of course.
Kara is forced to do some paperwork in between rounds, but after a while she gets bored and begins to wander around the room. She finds the room with the stat screens and gets a little bit weirded out, so she decides to find Ashley and finally leave. Drake tries to talk her into staying, but then Ashley steps from around a corner, acting strange and robotic, and saying that she wants to play another round.
I'm out of here.
What's the matter? Afraid you'll lose?
I already won, remember?
Round 2 begins, but after being shot once by Kara, Ashley's freaking head falls off. Drake shows up, but isn't concerned about Ashley being headless, but he is concerned about his Ashley bot being damaged. When Kara asks for clarification, multiple other Ashleys step from the shadows and zap Kara until she disappears just like Ashley did at the end of round 1. Kara wakes up in a strange white void, lying on a scanning table next to her sister.
Ashley, is that you?
I'm always such a fan of these overly simplistic sets. This one is just the white void that we saw back in The Tale of Oblivion, and I always find it so frightening to imagine being stuck in a place like this. The room could be endless for all you know, and it's that simplicity that lets your imagination run wild, and mine does with these kinds of sets, and I think that's why I love them so much. Ashley isn't able to respond to Kara, and we see why when the scanner that she's lying on scans her and prints out an Ashley robot. Drake pops up and gives us an explanation, saying that the scanner takes a portion of her life force from whoever it scans, so with each bot, the original will get a little bit weaker until they eventually expire.
Join to us!
Cloning Betatrons, love. What's it look like?
Drake then gives us a whole lot of exposition, so buckle up because we've got an intergalactic story that's about to be uncovered here. That's right, Drake is an alien. He's from a planet that is ruled by entertainment and hosts the galaxy's most famous game known as Laser Maze. His job is to search the galaxy and find contestants worthy of the game and then clone them to make the games as fun and as long-lasting as possible. But for Drake, things are neither hunky nor dory, as we see an Ashley bot steps back through the transporter, looking really haggard and now talking with the voice of one of Drake's superiors.
You've created inferior Metatron units.
Inferior? No.
Drake's Betatrons aren't cutting it, and he seems desperate for a solution, so Kara comes up with a plan. She states that she and Ashley could do better than any robots ever could because there's nothing better than the original. Drake sees the sense in this and decides to free the girls and send them to the games in person. This goes exactly how you think it would go. The second Ashley and Kara are free, they team up and just kick Drake through the portal, and then they're able to escape. It was not a great plan, Drake. But the episode isn't over quite yet, because we have one more round of Laser Maze to watch, but this time, Kara and Ashley will be facing against Drake himself.
Super.
I don't really get how he ended up here, but it doesn't really matter. The fight is really quick, and the sisters team up to beat him outright. Their final move is really funny because they jump out and then kick together as if that would do anything, and then lasers come from their eyes. And then they win. So like, why'd they kick? Why did they kick? It came from your eyes, girls. I mean, style points. That's true. I mean, it looked sick. There's no denying that. Anyway, Drake is dead, and he's revealed to have been a robot, and the sisters leave the laser maze and are closer than they've ever been. And that is how the story ends. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to like this episode more. I think this one was just fine. Like, I don't think it was a star or a stinker. It's just kind of middle of the line, pretty good time. The theme is a classic, and using the setting of this intergalactic game was a fun way to exploit their competitiveness against each other. It was a pretty straightforward story with a little alien twist, and like I said, I had a good time watching the episode, but it's one I'm sure I'll forget about after not too long. I'm thinking this story, I'm gonna do a 6 out of 10. I really don't think I'd call this episode a scary story either, like not at all. I think the only real scares I could find was when Ashley's head fell off, but then we see that she's a robot, so I mean, that's not very scary. And then them being trapped in the white void is a little scary, but it was also played more comical than it was intense. So I think I've just got to do a 2 out of 10 for the scares on this one. And that just leaves some bonus points. And I've got 2 that I want to give to this episode. One for Drake, like, he was weird and funny. I love characters like him. I love how he dressed. Him saying super all the time was really funny. And it turns out he was an alien gamer all along. Like, what a weird character. Definitely bonus point worthy. And the second, we'll go to that shot of Ashley's head falling off. That scene happened out of nowhere. It kind of startled me, and it was really funny, and it really changed the tone of the episode, so I liked it a lot. And that's it. So Tucker and the Tale of the Laser Maze will end with a total score of 10 out of 25. This next episode is told by Quinn, and it's called The Tale of the Reanimator. This title got me so excited. I'm a huge fan of the 1985 Reanimator movie. It's a Lovecraftian zombie storyline full of body horror and starring Jeffrey Combs. I love it so much, and it's actually one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel. I did cover it in like the 3rd video I ever uploaded. So yeah, you could say I kind of love Reanimator. And now, in this series, which I also adore, we get to experience another The Reanimator. It's just an instant smile on my face. Like, this really is what it's like when worlds collide. That's what a time we live in. What a time to be alive. For this episode, we follow a girl named Julie who works in a plant shop. I'm also pretty sure that she's the same girl who played Shelly in the Tale of Oblivion from last season. Those things are just fun for me, so I like to point them out whenever I notice them.
What happened to these plants? They're dead.
If you know anything about Reanimator, then you know a true homage needs a mad scientist. And Shelly's boss is exactly that. He's a glasses-wearing, frizzle-haired science man who stumbles in and heads straight to the basement where he has a laboratory. A plant laboratory in the basement? Sounds like a Goosebumps homage got snuck into this Reanimator episode, don't you think? Stay out of the basement. Yeah. Julie doesn't really get a chance to speak with her boss since he was in a hurry to get to the basement, so she follows him, noticing a trail of strange goop coming from his shoes as she follows. The boss is named Mr. Doyle, and Julie spies on him, watching as he takes a strange solution and drips it onto a dead plant. Only a second later, the plant sprouts leaves, and it, once again, is alive. Also, the solution in the episode is glowing blue instead of the Reanimator glowing green. That probably would have been a bit too on the nose, so I mean, hey, I like a syringe full of glowing science juice as much as the next guy, so I'm all for it. Mr. Doyle has a security system in his lab, and Julie trips a laser which just shuts a giant metal door down and locks the lab. So that happens, and Julie runs upstairs without further incident. Back up in the shop, we meet Julie's brother Peter and his friend Jake. Julie tries to tell them what she just saw, but we learn that today is April Fool's Day, so they think this is just a really lame prank. We're going with an April Fool's Day plot device, so that's why no one's going to believe anybody else when they say they see something scary in this episode.
That is the weakest April Fool's joke I have ever heard. That is so lame, I thought there's no way that could be an April Fool's joke. That's how bad it was.
It's not a joke.
After a few more hours of work, Julie shuts down the shop. But the moment she turns out the lights, she hears something shuffling around in the shadows, and we can hear something tapping on the windows. She tries to rush out of there, but sees a vine creeping from beneath the door, and as she stumbles back, she's attacked by a living plant creature.
April Fools!
Since the brother doesn't believe her, Julie decides to stick around and snoop in Mr. Doyle's lab. She finds a picture of his late wife, but is forced to hide when Mr. Doyle comes back inside, only, he finds her like right away.
And why didn't you tell me you were interested in my experiments?
I love how thrilled Mr. Doyle is that Julie is interested in the experiments and how he isn't like in the least bit mad that she's down here. He's such a friendly, mad science man. He just shows Julie what he's been working on and explains how he uses science to science the dead plants back to life. With science. And then he grabs a pitcher of water from a nearby freezer and pours it onto the plant to make it re-dead. That's important, so I had to kind of shoehorn the freezer part there. Oh, also that goop that we saw is just a byproduct of the solution, so that's the goop mystery solved from his shoe prints earlier.
If you can reanimate plants, can you reanimate other things?
That is a Herbert West kind of question right there. Never stop pursuing, despite the horrors that definitely await you. He calls this stuff super fertilizer, but Julie gets really scared for some reason, and she'll explain why later. So she swipes the solution while Mr. Doyle isn't looking, and then she runs out of the lab. She calls Peter asking him to come by the shop and walk her home, and then explains what she's afraid of.
I'm telling you, he's gonna do it. He's gonna bring his wife back from the dead.
She just hopped right into that conclusion after one science lesson. They follow Mr. Doyle to a graveyard, but he was just visiting his wife's grave, so no zombies here. But Peter, oh Peter, he decides to have some fun, and now it's time to prank Julie. He grabs the solution and runs to a nearby grave to test if bringing someone back to life is even possible.
Don't rise and shine! Stop it! Enough of this April Fool's stuff, all right? It's getting too weird.
They head back home, but we see the solution is squelching and puddling over the grave, so that's probably not good. This episode has had some really good horror, and it starts to ramp it up even more from here as we see the shadow of a stumbling man pass by Julie's window, and when she goes to investigate, a full-blown zombie enters the story.
Okay, April Fool's.
She locks the undead out, but of course Peter just believes this is even more of her April Fool's joking around, so he goes to investigate. But he figures out pretty quick that Julie was being serious.
You know, I don't think she's kidding.
I'm not! Would you guys listen to me? This is not an April Fool's joke.
Don't you start too. I'm not falling for it.
Peter, she's not kidding.
Oh, what? Now I'm supposed to turn around and see.
The kids are all chased by the zombie. It's pretty frightening, but it's also really funny at one point because they're hiding beneath a tree and then some goop falls on Julie, so they look up and...
What is that?
It's the goo that...
How'd he get here before them? Like, how did they not see him in this tree, like 2 feet above their heads? It's a scary shot for sure, but it's also just funny if you think about it for like 1 second. As they come up with plans on what to do, Julie remembers Mr. Doyle using the water on the plant to re-kill it earlier. So they plan to use a hose to spray down the zombie to hopefully return it to the grave. The zombie is attracted to the super fertilizer solution, so they're able to use that as bait and lure it near enough to the hose to finally put it down. But that doesn't work. The zombie just gets back up and the kids barricade themselves inside the plant shop.
Why didn't it work?
I don't know.
The reason why it didn't work is so silly. It turns out that this room that Mr. Doyle got the water from, it might look like a freezer on the outside, but it's actually a hot box for tropical plants. So they need hot water to kill the zombie and not cold water. And this part, I'm sorry, it moves so fast, it's crazy. They all volunteer Peter to take the super fertilizer and lure the zombie into the hotbox, which should kill it. But then the kids trip the lab security, so Julie and the blonde kid, what's his name, they get locked out and Peter just gets petrified with fear and forgets the plan, so he tries to run the other way. So then Julie dresses up like the plant creature that they pranked her with earlier, and they re-scare Peter into running into the hotbox, and then the zombie follows him, and they lock the door, and the zombie dies. It's a lot. It's so funny, and it's so fast. It's a lot. I loved it. Mr. Doyle returns, and I love how they open the door, and the zombie collapses as just a pile of bones.
I think I'm gonna puke.
Mr. Doyle sees the skeleton and realizes that he can bring people back to life. And that freaks him out, and he says that he shouldn't interfere with fate and puts an end to the experiments once and for all. Which is very un-Herbert West of him. But the episode's over, so, I mean, we'll have to forgive him.
This experiment is over.
So, how are we feeling about this episode? I think it's alright. I obviously love the homages to Reanimator, but the story had quite a few issues that just can't be overlooked. It moved incredibly fast. Most of the time it stayed comprehensive, but like that final act with Peter getting scared in the lab, it was just rapid fire of forgotten plot devices. I also really don't like how Julie just jumps to the dead wife zombie theory. Like, that didn't feel like a reasonable leap in logic for this kid to make with this doctor. Like, it didn't add up there. But I still did like it and had a good time overall, so let's go with a 6 out of 10 for the story. And I will say, this episode was pretty scary. The initial feeling of not knowing if you can trust the authoritative figure with Mr. Doyle sets the episode on a good track, and then the scenes with the plant creature prank and, I mean, pretty much everything with the zombie were played straight and as scary as they could. It was decent, but not over the top at any time, so I'll say this one gets an 8 out of 10 for the scares. And then we've got some bonus points. I'll only give one for this being a Reanimator story. I could do more, but I won't. I will do another point for that zombie falling into a skeleton pile. I really liked that scene. And then I want to do a third point for the stop motion that they used in this episode to make the plants come alive. They had a few different things with the leaves growing back or vines moving around that looked great, so definitely point-worthy stuff there. And that leaves Quinn and the Tale of the Reanimator with a total score of 17 out of 25. We learn 2 things about Megan with the intro of this next story. The first is that she doesn't like bugs. It fits with her rich girl aesthetic, so no surprise there. And the second thing we learn is that she likes to dress up like the girl from Salt. We've already heard from Megan once this season with the revival's first love story, and I will say that love must have infected her mind, because this one also has a plot that really heavily revolves around a love triangle. This is the tale of the Lunar Locusts. But don't you worry, there ain't no bugs in this episode. Just a bug girl. In the intro, we see some undulating grass beneath a football field, but who cares, because we see the main character and yo, it's Iceman. This better be Iceman. I swear, finding out that what's-his-face Ashmore has a twin has ruined my understanding of reality. Are you telling me there's two Icemans? You're saying that the dude in Alan Wake isn't the same guy that held Pyro's hands and then bonked his noggin in X3? What are you talking about? That's the same guy. And it's the main character of this episode, Iceman. In this episode, his name is Jake, and he has a sort of girlfriend named Julie. Like I said, the episode revolves around a love triangle, but I really hated it. Instead of giving Jake a personality or like moral dilemmas between two people, they just made him oblivious and at times really stupid. Oh, and he also has this ring that he found on the beach that glows in the moonlight. And as he and Julie are chilling on the football field, they see a shooting star. How magical.
Did you see that?
It was probably shooting star. You should make a wish.
Of course, a love triangle requires 3 people, so the next day at school, a new transfer student named Ellen walks in and instantly takes a liking to Jake. She asks if he'll show her around school before Julie shows up and scares the competition away. We also see that Ellen is a bit off because she throws her food away and gives it a disgusted look. So that's weird. After lunch, Ellen tries to get close to Jake again, and this time she specifically mentions his really cool moon ring and asks if she can try it on.
I found the stone on the beach.
It's beautiful. Can I try it on?
But before she can try the ring on, Julie shows up again and makes Ellen back off of her man. It's bad. The whole time Jake is just like, "Hey, what's wrong, Julie? Yeah, me and Ellen are great friends. Yeah, let's hang out after school and I'll teach you all about computers, Ellen." Like, he's just like really oblivious in a pretty lazy way. Also, they do make plans to learn about computers after school, so that was real. That was a real plot point. Like, she wants to come over to his house to learn about computers. Julie has caught on that Ellen is a bit strange, so she begins to spy on her. We see Ellen in a field using a weird metal detector covered in unfamiliar symbols, and of course she runs in to tell Jake all about it.
She's totally strange. Your new friend, what's her name?
She tries to make plans with Jake after school, but oopsies, he's already made plans with Ellen with computers, so he can't. Sorry, Julie, that sucks to be you. But Julie keeps spying on Ellen and follows her into the lab and then into a greenhouse. Also, we get a skeleton jump scare. She loses track of Ellen inside the greenhouse, but we see that Ellen is taking a snooze on top of some plants, which is a totally normal thing to do, so nothing noteworthy whatsoever. Continuing in her snooping, Julie is able to get the school records and finds that there have been no new students admitted to the school in a few weeks.
There's no record of any new transfers. She's not even a student here.
After school, Ellen and Jake hang out. Nothing much happens. Jake mentions his interest in UFOs, Ellen eats all of his fish, and then they break for the night, and Jake drives her home. But the address Ellen gives takes Jake right into the middle of the woods, and clueless Jake has no idea what's going on, so Ellen has to just lay it right out for him.
You're so cute. I could eat you up.
Yeah? I mean, I think you're pretty cute and all too, but...
Jake, I'd really love to be your girlfriend and wear your ring.
And now, of all times, Jake decides to get a clue and he realizes that he really likes Julie. So he says not right now, because Julie actually is his girlfriend, so it's too bad for Ellen. And Ellen, she doesn't take the rejection well.
I'm sorry.
Okay, then. Here we go.
Hey, the car door just locked.
I know.
But neither of us.
Now give me that ring.
Ellen's eyes become slitted and green, and then she attacks. Jake escapes out of the car but gets caught almost instantly. Fortunately, Ellen doesn't seem like she wants to eat Jake. Instead, she gives us some exposition, and we finally learn all about her. It turns out that Ellen is an alien plant creature, and her homeworld was ravaged by a flesh-eating bacteria that has now spread to Earth. Her homeworld was destroyed, but she and her partner learned a way to destroy the bacteria using their combined moon rocks as a power source. So that's why she was interested in Jake, all for the moon ring, and not at all due to his football skills or ice-based mutant powers.
So you're telling me you're like a lizard girl from outer space on a mission to destroy a band of intergalactic flesh-eating parasites that want to eat Earth, and then make this your home?
That's about it.
Cool.
You know what's not cool? The freaking love triangle in this episode. Julie is somehow back. She sees them in this secluded piece of the woods that they're in, and then she scares Ellen and sees her alien eyes, but instead of listening to Jake's explanation, she just goes straight to the cops. And next we see Jake and Ellen are being chased by the cops inside of the high school. The chase is really quick, and Jake and Ellen just hide in the greenhouse. And I mean, that's really it. Now they have to get to the football field and avoid the cops and set up their little moon laser thingies. They get to the field, but need a distraction. So Jake heads to his car, and freaking Julie is there in the back seat, just like, why and how? I don't know how she got here so fast. Why is she just laying down in the back seat? She tries to guilt trip Jake, but he's just like, dude, Ellen is an alien and I really like you, so it's not an issue. And Julie's like, oh, my bad. And then they kiss, and Julie signs up to be the distraction so that Jake can help the alien Ellen. And it's awful.
I'm out of there now.
Is that too loud?
So they set up the alien laser thingies, but the cops attack, and we need a bit of Jake doing some football against cops who can't do football. And then he's able to throw the rings from across the football field into these tiny little laser thingies, and he calls them hoops.
Julie, throw it in the hoop.
So the rings go into the hoops, and then the lasers go off and flashbang everyone, and the bacteria is assumably destroyed. But, well, it turns out that Ellen was lying and is an evil alien, and the lasers actually hatched the eggs that were under the field, and it was never bacteria at all, and now she's going to be the mother of a spawn that takes over the Earth. The end.
The end.
All right, so there's a lot there. I liked this story at its center. An alien tricking someone into helping them hatch their spawn is really fun, but man, the love triangle sucked so bad. Julie as a character was really poorly done, and Jake was dumb to the point that it was hard to watch at times. I did like Ellen. She did a great job at being a suspicious, not quite human character, but she's only 1/3 of that triangle, so that don't cut it. I think I've got to give this story a 3 out of 10. As for the scares, This one wasn't too scary. It did have a few decent jump scares, and then when Ellen is revealed as an alien, it's played as a pretty threatening moment. The ending is also pretty dread-inducing, and I like that. It's nothing major, but I'd say it does ride the line between horror and action, so let's give it a 5 out of 10 for the scare score. And that leaves us with the bonuses, and I think I only want to give this one 1 point, and that's for Iceman, because that's definitely him, right? That better be him. So that's 1 out of 5 bonus point, which leaves Megan and the tale of the Lunar Locusts with a total score of 9 out of 25. It's not my favorite, but always a good time to see that Ashmore fella. This next episode is one that I heard about long before I ever watched it. It's a favorite among the Revival series, and after watching the episode, I definitely see why. I'll often talk about stories that feel big, the types of things that normally we'd see in movies because pulling them off in 30 minutes is really difficult. But Quinn is up for that challenge, so everyone buckle up as we hear the tale of Highway 13. For some setup, we'll mostly be following 2 friends named Justin and Craig. Justin is a good kid, not rebellious, always following the rules, that sort of thing. But Craig is the opposite, disregarding most of the rules and seeking adventure and excitement over Justin's more cautious common sense. We see this dynamic in action as we're introduced to the 2 friends and find out that Craig borrowed Justin's car only to swipe a wall and lose a side mirror.
My mother's gonna kill me. No sweat, okay? Just when you pull into the garage, park real close to the wall. She'll never notice.
The next morning, they head to the junkyard to find a replacement mirror, and Craig displays some worrying over imagination.
I mean, you can almost hear the smashing metal and breaking glass and crunching. Yeah, I get the picture. It must have been fine to get wrecked this bad.
Hey, let's find the nastiest wreck here.
Don't be sick. We're here to find a mirror. My mom's gonna kill me.
Kill you, I know.
I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I've watched every episode of Dexter, so I know what a serial killer looks like. Craig, just saying. I've got my eye on you. At the junkyard, they meet this random stranger who goes by the name Bulldog. He seems cool and pretty harmless, so the boys listen as he talks about this sick car that he's found at the junkyard that still runs, and it could be a working muscle car with only a little TLC. It's a steal because the junkyard owner doesn't know it even runs, so he'd sell it for super cheap. So why doesn't Bulldog buy it?
I've had a couple of tickets, nothing serious. 16 to 35 zone. Bottom line, I got my license yanked.
And just like that, Craig gets upsailed from buying a side view mirror into buying a car. Sardo needs to take some notes from Bulldog on salesmanship. He'd turn a real profit if he didn't sell only to children for pennies. but I digress. 2 more things before we leave the junkyard. There is another man we meet named Tony, and when he hears that the boys are buying the car, he gets a really strange and distant look. So that's weird. Tony also is tasked with finding the boys a side mirror, so he'll show up again a little bit later. And the second thing to note is that as they're leaving the lot, this red, scary-looking truck flashes its lights in an ominous way, and that is spooky. The boys fix up the car in a montage that could have been ripped straight out of an MTV show. Yeah. And in no time at all, the car is fixed up and looking snazzy.
Now that is one sweet ride.
Have to admit, it's pretty nice.
Tony comes by just as they finish up the car with the side mirror in a bag, and the boys thank him before heading inside. But we see that Tony definitely has something going on, because he goes to touch the car and it turns to goop, or maybe it goes intangible. It's weird. A little while later, the boys take the car out for a test drive, but the instant they begin the drive, we see the truck rev up its engines and race out of the junkyard. That's probably not good. Back to the boys. The road they're driving on suddenly gets shrouded in fog, and the radio gets stuck on a looping broadcast.
Who's the surfer music?
After a few minutes, the road leads them to a diner that they know about from the outskirts of their town, only they know it to be beat up and broken down. But right now, the place looks almost new.
Whoa. Blast from the past. Not very popular.
Inside the diner, they meet Bulldog again. We only see him for a second because this big scary bald dude hears that Craig now owns the car and gets all up in his face to warn him not to get in his way while on the road.
If you're talking about the Monster V8 out there, yeah, we're driving. You got a problem with that?
Only if you get in my way.
Justin gets scared, so he drags Craig out of the diner. But man, Craig has balls of steel because he just keeps shouting at this large dude until he's dragged outside.
Hey, nice threads, dude. Do they sell men's clothing where you got those?
So this bald dude is the driver of the truck, and we'll definitely see more of him down the road.
See you out on Highway 13.
The boys drive off, but the truck follows them and sticks right on their rear bumper. As they speed up, they realize that this road doesn't seem to be ending, and they spot a sign showing that they're currently on Highway 13. But as they speed up, so does the truck, to the point where they're positive that he's trying to run them off the road.
He's doing a pretty good job of scaring this thing. Relax. It's too big to keep up.
You'd think this race would be an easy win for the car, but the truck has some power and easily keeps up. After another minute, Craig and Justin are both freaking out, and Craig decides to turn onto a side road to try and escape the truck. But the road just leads to more fog before they find themselves once again approaching the diner. A looping world that leads back to a diner. I know where From got its inspiration. If uncanny smiling humans start to attack the boys in the diner here, then the From producers are gonna have some things to answer for. I'm just saying.
Scared yet?
Not knowing what to do, Justin tries to call the cops, and it's kind of cute how instead of the phone ringing, the sound of the truck's horn just blares through the speaker. Now inside the diner, Bulldog decides to give the boys a little bit of exposition. Oh, also Tony is here, and it turns out that he is Bulldog's best friend. They have a similar dynamic as Craig and Justin, where Bulldog is a troublemaker and an adrenaline seeker, while Tony was more of a do-gooder who would get talked into doing stupid things by Bulldog. And one of the stupid things that they did was try and race that red truck. You see, it turns out that Tony and Bulldog are both dead.
Didn't you guys get hurt? Hurt? No. We all died.
What?
They and the truck driver were killed after they were racing down Highway 13. At the end of the highway, there's a bridge that is only wide enough for one car at a time, but as the bridge came close, the cars were neck and neck. Neither backed down, and so the race ended with a crash that killed everyone. But the race never really ended, as they've been forced to drive down that same highway every day and relive the crash over and over. And now that Craig owns the car, it seems that this curse has been passed down to him, and he'll be forced to race that truck day after day. Bulldog is sure that the reason they haven't won the race yet is because of the fear that slows them down in the final stretch, so Craig knows that he'll have to risk his life for this race, and he tricks Justin into using the phone again while he starts up the car and decides to do the race solo.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Go!
The race is pretty intense. While flying down the highway, the ghost of Bulldog and Tony appear in the back seat to give Craig some encouragement and directions to the bridge. And the moment he starts up the engine, that truck is right behind him, trying to run him off the road. Then the final stretch approaches, and Craig knows that he has the victory. He lets go of all fear and speeds up, pulling ahead of the truck. But that's when Bulldog says this.
I knew we'd beat that guy the second I saw him. I knew he could be taken. Wait a minute, this race was your idea?
It was all his idea. He went after the trucker. He made me chase it. He challenged him. It was never the trucker's fault. It was ours.
Craig realizes that while the trucker seems to be the antagonist here, he is actually the victim of this race. He never wanted part of it, but has been forced to relive the crash just like Bulldog and Tony. So instead of winning the race, Craig pulls his car over and stops, letting the truck get to the bridge and then watching as it finally vanishes into the afterlife. With that done, Bulldog and Tony can now feel that they're free to leave as well, so they load into the car and follow the truck right into the afterlife. Meanwhile, Craig just has to walk back to the diner, and he picks up Justin and explains what happened.
What happened?
I lost. It was great.
We get a quick final few words from the truck driver, and then the episode ends.
Last thing I wanted was a race.
Yeah, we know that now.
Thanks for letting me get home.
What a great episode. I totally get why people bring this one up so much. I like the story a lot. It takes the premise of ghosts with unfinished business and turns it into a curse that's passed down through a car, which is a really cool mixing of two fun horror tropes. The flow of the story was also really well done. We went so seamlessly from the junkyard to the foggy road to the diner to the endless raceway. The entire time the episode was moving really rapidly but stayed comprehensive and did a great job of delivering us a whole lot of information in a very limited amount of time. The one negative that I think the story has is in its forced rapid pace, specifically the solution for the race. Them losing makes some sense, but Craig coming up with a solution in a split second and then enacting that plan, like there was never any question or mystery to it, so it definitely suffered a little bit in its lack of explanation there. But still, I loved this one. I'm going to give it a nearly perfect 9 out of 10. I do wish this episode had a little more horror to it. The time-looping raceway with the trucker is pretty scary, but we only had a few scenes with him, and most of the time the episode was more intense and adventurous rather than scary, so I've got to give this one a 4 out of 10 for the scares. For a couple of bonus points, I like the trucker guy a lot. Giving him a little wrap-up line did a lot to turn him from an antagonist to just another misunderstood stranger, so I'll do a point for that. I want to do another for the foggy road that leads to the diner. It's such a cool vibe immediately in the story. And I want to do a third point for the Tony hand goopy car part. I don't know, I liked the graphics there. They were cool. So 3 out of 5 points, which leaves Quinn and the Tale of Highway 13 with a total score of 16 out of 25. I've always thought that old photographs have a strange mysticism to them. It's almost magical the way that a moment in time can be perfectly captured in a still frame. Now, let's turn this modern day marvel into a horror story. One where instead of us capturing photographs are capturing us. Andy tells our next story with the tale of the photo finish. So smile and say cheese as we delve into the episode. Before getting too into things, let me set the stage. This story takes place at a school. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a high school, but a large premise of this one is about 2 boys trying to join a fraternity club, and I'm pretty sure there aren't frats in high school. but I'm not positive. But there wasn't in my high school. And that's good, because from what we see here, this frat is basically just the Bohemian Grove Junior.
You must pass the test or suffer the consequences.
We'll be mostly following two best friends named Chandler and Alex. In the intro, they're both going through initiations for the Lion Society Club. Other than dressing like a cult, we see the initiation is them putting their hands into gelatin while they're blindfolded and being told it's guts and eyeballs and stuff. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, it's enough to freak out one guy.
No way. I'm out of here.
He didn't have the guts. After the gelatin night, there's only one more test before the boys are accepted into the club. Also, there's 3 initiates remaining. Obviously, we've got Alex and Chandler, but there's also this third kid that they made sure to include. And I hope you enjoyed hearing about him, because third initiate kid will never be seen or heard from again after this. I hope all of his dreams come true. A few things are revealed with the announcement of their final test. They'll be required to pull a super epic prank for their final initiation. The boys have some fun spitballing ideas, but Chandler is pulled to the side by the Lion Society Club leader, and we find out that things aren't hunky or dory when it comes to the club's thoughts on Alex.
Congratulations. You're in. Really? That's great, but you gotta see my prank first.
I'm not worried about that. But there is a slight problem. Your roommate.
Oh, Alex? Oh, he's a great guy. Is he?
We don't exactly feel that he's Lion Society material.
Frankly, we didn't think he'd get this far.
They say the reason they don't want Alex in the club is because he's on a scholarship to the school while everyone else are rich kids, so it's a classist thing. Neat. I like a lot how Chandler immediately tells Alex that he's out of the club. A lot of shows I think would try and dangle him on the hook for a few minutes, but it's a fun way to show that these two have a real quality friendship between them, as Chandler doesn't want to hold a secret over Alex. Chandler is also having some struggles with what he should do in this situation, so in general, it's a really good expositional scene.
My grandfather was a lion, Al, and my father was too. I can't quit.
All right, a bit of drama brewing between friends. But that's going to have to wait, because as night rolls around, it's time for Chandler to enact his prank. He wants to steal a painting from the headmaster's office and then hang it up over the detention board. But once he sneaks into the office, we see that one of the paintings is bulging, as if something were trying to push from underneath it. Then the alarms go off and Chandler swipes the first painting that he can, which happens to be the one that we saw a second ago, and he dashes back into his room. He didn't expect the alarms to go off, so now he's full on panicking, and he and Alex try to find a place to hide the painting in their room since security has woken up and put the whole school on lockdown.
Search every room. Find that painting.
Campus security, open up!
Everywhere they tried to hide the painting is full, but Alex notices the corner is coming up and there seems to be another photograph beneath the painting. So they peel off the top layer and hide that in the closet and then hang the framed photo of this house up on their wall just as campus security knocks on the door.
Campus security!
What's the hubbub?
Room search.
After a few tense minutes, the guard leaves without incident.
Sorry to bother you.
And with a night full of excitement now over, Alex and Chandler decide to get some shut-eye. But not before they take a quick glance at their new photograph and realize there's a young boy sitting on the porch of that old house. I have to mention that now, because they head to bed only to wake up a few hours later when they think they hear someone making a ruckus in their room. When they look around, there's no one there. And strange enough, that boy that was in the photograph is now gone. That's
That's normal.
Hey, wasn't there a guy in this picture? Why? Well, he's not there anymore.
Chandler goes back to sleep, somehow, but Alex heads into the hall to investigate the noise. A few minutes later, Chandler is woken up again by the sound of a ruckus, but this time, when he looks at the photo, the boy is back.
The guy in the picture is back. Chandler!
A lot happened there. The boy in the photo seems to be alive in some way, and Chandler was sucked inside of the photograph. Man, I said that so properly on accident. That was kind of a recap for those on audio only, but it's also just fun to acknowledge that this episode has gone from a story about joining a frat to now a photograph that photographs people and captures them. I love this show. Alex tries yelling for help, but everyone knows that the Lion Society is doing their prank initiation thingy, so everyone thinks this is Alex trying to pull an epic prank.
You know the Lion Society doesn't want you? Yeah, but... Then don't bother pulling off a prank. Good night. But it's not a prank! I said good night.
The next day, having no clue what to do, Alex goes to the library to look for some kind of history about the photograph. He's pointed towards an old yearbook from 1944, and inside he finds a picture of the boy from the photo.
Jasper Davis died 1944.
The instant that Alex started asking around about Jasper and the photograph, we've had shots that show someone has started to stalk him through the aisles, and once he gets Jasper's name, the stalker makes himself known.
Do you have it?
Oh, Professor Barish.
Do you have the photo?
What photo?
The one behind the painting.
So this dude is a professor that works for the school, and Alex and Chandler both know him. So he's not just some stranger that suddenly makes himself a slot in the story. I mean, he is, but there's also a little bit of context for his introduction. It turns out that he's the one that hid the photograph behind the headmaster painting, but he did it back when he was a kid because Jasper, the boy from the photo, used to be the professor's best friend. Oh, and he knows that people can get sucked into the old photo.
Where's Chandler, Alex?
You won't believe me.
He's in the photo, isn't he?
How'd you know?
Because my friend is in there too.
In a relationship that is very similar to Alex and Chandler, the professor explains how he and Jasper were trying to become members of the Lion Society Club, and were going through all the steps of initiation. But, well, the story feels familiar to Alex.
Well, the members decided to play a prank, and they told Jasper they wanted him to join the club.
But he wasn't Lion Society material, right?
No.
The members of the club ended up bullying Jasper so bad that he ran and hid on the roof of the old clubhouse. But the club members were relentless and kept their bullying until Jasper fell.
Jasper ended up running onto the roof. It was a terrible accident. He fell.
And died.
Yes.
Weeks after Jasper's death, the photograph just appeared inside of the clubhouse, and the professor watched as it captured multiple of the Lion Society members before he finally took action and hid it behind the painting. And now we're all cut up. There's a magical kidnapping painting and a bunch of missing boys that are maybe really old now. The problem is, they have no idea what to do with any of this information. In a quick scene, we get the leader of the Lion Society Club coming in to bother Alex. He sees the painting and mentions that he knows where the old clubhouse is, and then gives Alex the address before he's sucked into the photo.
Oh, man!
But we don't care about this guy too much because he is really mean, so good riddance. The episode starts to do some really cool stuff starting right now. First off, this transition scene. Using the photo and then framing it to line up with the real life house, that's a great little shot. Alex arrives at the old clubhouse, and the second he steps inside, everything in the world turns black and white. Oh, and also he's got the photograph hidden under this blanket, and that's really important, so don't forget that. Inside the house, the walls are lined with blank photographs that each have a name of a Lion Society member underneath it. A bit deeper inside, Alex finds that some of the frames have photos of the kids who have actually been captured, including one of Chandler. And then Alex finds the photographer himself, Jasper, still angry and looking to capture some vengeance for his death.
But you fell off the building. It was an accident.
Was it? If only they had let me in their stupid club, I never would have fallen. But no, I wasn't good enough. I didn't dress like them. I didn't have lots of money. Well, I got the last laugh, didn't I? Because I took some of them with me.
Alex tries to talk sense into Jasper, but nothing works. A moment later, the professor walks into the house and sees his old best friend again, but things are much different between them now. Jasper knows that the professor ended up joining the club after his death, and he blames him in part for that death. So the professor has gone from Jasper's best friend to now his enemy number one.
And now I've got a prime spot saved just for you, old buddy.
No, Jasper.
Welcome to my club, Felix. Stop it! Looks like that won't work. Smile for the birdie.
Jasper.
Jasper has completely lost it, and he turns to Alex to capture him as well. Alex takes cover behind a table and notices something strange when he glances out the window. Instead of the outdoors, he sees a patterned fabric that matches the blanket that he's holding, the one he used to cover the photograph. It's so cool. The photograph is basically just a window into this dimension, and you can see whatever the photograph sees through the house itself. I hope that made sense. The takeaway is that it's really cool, okay? So Alex comes up with a plan. He decides to give himself up to Jasper and says that he'll accept being captured, but Jasper will have to take a really, really nice photo.
All my photographs look good. I'm an excellent photographer.
All right, yeah, sure.
Of course, Alex places himself right in front of the window, and as soon as Jasper snaps a photo, he jumps out of the way and shows that he set up the photograph in a way so that Jasper would take his own picture through the open window.
Say cheese!
With Jasper now captured, the world begins to disintegrate. Alex sprints outside just as he sees the photo become wiped clear. He turns and sees Chandler and the professor are there and no longer captured in photos, so that's good.
What about those other guys from back in 44?
Let's hope they've gone to a better place along with Jasper. Poor fellow.
Also, the Lion Society leader guy is here, and he now invites Alex into the club. But, I mean, it goes exactly how you'd expect.
You're in. Tell you what. You Lion Society geeks have fun telling each other you're better than everyone else, and I'll hang with people who have better things to do.
You can't be serious. Chandler convinced the boy.
Of what? That he should hang around with a gang of loser snobs? I don't think so. I'm out too.
Yeah, I should have said that years ago.
And with that, the episode is over. There are so many great episodes in this series, but it always surprises me when I find another hidden gem among the seasons. I'm shocked that no one has told me that this is their favorite episode of the revival because I think it's kind of amazing. The episode is so vast. It covers a lot of ground. It tells us a story of a multi-generational kidnapping ghost photographer. It gives us lessons about classism with plenty of hints at racial biases. It starts with a fraternity prank competition and leads into a professor and student teaming up to fight a black and white ghost. And the thing is, the story was seamless in its telling. While it did cover all of those things, it stayed interesting and constantly changed while giving us new and insane information. I loved this one. This story is easily a 10 out of 10 for me. And I will say, it was a bit on the scarier side of things. That bulging painting scene was pretty out of nowhere. It caught me a bit off guard, I won't lie. And then there was Jasper and the kidnapping photographs, which are a bit frightening. Jasper especially is such an angry kid. His want for vengeance is all-consuming, and that is pretty scary in itself. But the episode did a lot with the in-between scenes when it comes to horror as well. The professor stalking Alex, and especially when Alex went to investigate the first night that they have the photo, those shots were really intense and played out really straight. So all of it together, I'd say that this episode is a 7 out of 10 for the scare score. So now, just some bonus points. I loved the transition shot from the photo to the house, and I especially loved how everything went black and white the moment they entered the house, so let's do 2 points for those right there. I want to do another for Jasper. He was just filled with rage. He acted incredibly and was so malicious as a ghost in the end. I love that he turned on his old friend as well. Like, that's some fun character development and just really great acting, so a point there. And let's do one more for how well this story took us from point A to point Z. It covered so much ground. Like I said, I'm still just so impressed. So that'll be 4 out of 5 bonus points. And we'll land Andy and the tale of the photo finish with a total score of 21 out of 25 points. And I'll say, I count Andy as fully redeemed from his fortune cookie fiasco in the previous season after this one. Great job, Andy. Great job. And just like that, I've spoken too soon. This next Andy story is perfect for restless nights because it's guaranteed to put you right to sleep. This one is boring. It's called The Tale of the Last Dance. Before I get into the story, I do want to mention that this title is very reminiscent to something that I said in season 5 of the original series. In that video, Sam tells a story called The Tale of C7, and the title is a hint at a jukebox where C7 plays a song called The Last Dance. It was kind of like the title was hinting at an alternate name, so it was really fun to see it pop up out of the blue here in the revival. And that's about all that's fun with the episode, so let's begin. This whole story takes place inside of an old rec center that is scheduled to be demolished. The center is a gathering place for tons of people, as it always has activities and performances hosted by the locals. So now, with the place being torn down, the residents are enjoying the final week and preparing for the last dance. Yep, there it is. Mostly we follow a girl named Tara who plays this tiny guitar with a funny looking stick.
Those things are violins.
Tara obviously loves music and is passionate about it enough that she's considering pursuing a career as a professional, so we gotta add some drama. Tara's boyfriend is super cool. You can tell by the way he wears a leather jacket, and his name is Michael. But in the middle of Tara's performance, Michael leaves because he gets bored. Man, what a jerk. I really hope we get to delve into this relationship a lot more throughout the episode. I hope that it's super unoriginal and lazily written, and most of all, I hope we get a lurker in the vents who says he's been watching Tara for years with a growing fascination that has implications that we're clearly just not thought out. I'm being harsh. The episode it's fine. It's just a little boring. It's not bad. I got a little bored. As I said, there's a lurker in the vents. We see hints of someone watching Tara as teardrops drip down from the ceiling when she's playing somber music. Or, like, we get weird slow pans that just focus on vents every once in a while. There's clearly someone inside of them, and they are focused mostly on Tara, so that's not good. Also, everyone hates Michael. Tara's friends are, like, overly supportive of her, and then just knock Michael down constantly, which makes sense because he is just a jerk in the episode and has very little redeeming qualities.
Be famous one day, and you're gonna be like working out.
Famous? Playing that stuff? Unlikely.
Oh, gee, thanks for the support.
So we've seen Michael being a jerk a few times, and clearly the ceiling fella doesn't like that. So when Michael goes to put his cool guy jacket back on after a workout, he finds that it's all torn up and ruined.
Oh, there's a hole back there. Some rats got it in for you, buddy.
Around the same time, Tara's violin just suddenly goes missing when her back is turned.
My violin's gone. Well, where did you put it? There. I put the violin there. Nobody else is here. How could it just disappear?
They tell security, but nothing comes from that. So, cut to that night, and let's get introduced to the freaking hunchback that lives inside the vents. So yeah, we got a hunchback in the vent. The episode is like a slight play on Phantom of the Opera, mixed with a little bit of Hunchback of Notre Dame and a whole lot of Beauty and the Beast. It's a cool mixture and a fun setting, but the characters and the relationship that takes center stage during the episode are just dull to the point of giving me tinnitus. Now it's the night of the last dance, and Tara still hasn't found her tiny guitar, so she's big time upset. Then Michael says something that makes her even more upset, which is so surprising from Michael. So Tara storms out into the hallway all mad. Her friend Jane goes after her, but somehow they get split up. Tara thinks that she hears something, but it turns out to just be a false alarm. So it ends up being Jane who gets the scare here, and clearly the vent hunchback is a fan of Carrie because red paint falls from the vent and drenches Jane.
Come on, Tara, talk to me.
The first time I watched this episode, I thought that this paint was like a really red CGI tongue. So for a few seconds, I thought the hunchback was like part frog, but that's not the case. That would have been really cool though. Jane's scream gets Tara's attention, but by the time she runs over, Jane is gone, and then the lurker makes his move. I'm just gonna keep calling the hunchback guy the lurker because he doesn't have a name in the episode. He kidnaps Tara and drags her into the walls, and inside there's this whole labyrinth with like a cavernous drop off of some catwalks. This is supposed to be underground. Like, I don't know why it was made, but it's supposed to be like they're going deeper into the basement, and yet there are these giant deep structures still going further down. It's kind of cool, but it also makes no sense whatsoever. The lurker takes Tara to this makeshift home and gives a bit of his story to her.
Who are you?
A mistake of evolution.
He's just this deformed guy who lives in the vents and has developed a fascination with Tara over the years. This whole segment of the episode is terrible. They try to do the whole like monster on the outside, but actually a kind heart on the inside sort of vibe. But they fail, and it just feels like this dude kidnapped this girl and now is trying to guilt her into liking him. In my scripts, I like leave notes for myself and stuff, or I'll like write things, and like I can tell I was frustrated right here because I just put clip, I don't know, Dino, sorry man, rewatch the whole episode and then find a clip for here, thanks. So Dino, rewatch this whole episode and then find a clip and then put it here to break up my rambling. Thanks, Dino. You're the best, dude. I love you, man. The whole thing just comes across as creepy and pathetic to the point where I can't have any sympathy for this guy because I'm so distracted by how creepy and pathetic he's always being. Also, we see this guy's face and he is completely normal looking.
I warned you.
No, leave it off. I'm not afraid.
Yeah, you're not scared because he looks completely normal. So, of course, he just wants Tara to play for him, and eventually he pathetics his way into getting what he wants. This whole time, Michael has been searching for Tara. There is one pretty good scare when Jane comes out of the shadows here.
Check the girls' bathroom. Jane? What happened?
Something horrible is going on.
But that's the only thing really notable. Michael found footprints in red paint leading through the wall, so he follows them to go rescue his girl. And then he overhears as the lurker talks about Tara's music with such revere that it makes Michael learn to appreciate her music as well. I'm serious. That actually happens exactly like that, and exactly that quickly. That's character development for you, folks. Michael rescues Tara, but the lurker gets angry for no reason, and then he tries to fight Michael, but he ends up slipping and dangling from the catwalk over that big old cavern. And then we get the scene where the lurker is giving his last words to Tara and tells her to never give up on her dreams and to keep playing her music. It's fine. And then, as he's about to die, Michael grabs the lurker and saves him.
I got you. Come on. Come on. Get up. I got you.
Why did you save him?
For you.
Boo. Boo. The episode ends with Tara visiting the lurker and giving him a record of her playing, and then it's over. I don't know if you gathered, I didn't really like this one. It's better than the Tale of the Misfortune Cookie, I will say that, but this is the first episode in a long while that I got just bored while watching. The relationship that takes the front of the story is just so poorly done, and it's obvious and over the top, and they did a very bad job of making the lurker a character just in general. Like, all the characters in this episode are rough, but the lurker, they were like, you've seen Beauty and the Beast, it's that, but they did nothing to show us that. The story was boring and forgettable. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. The episode was too boring to be scary, all except for that one scene with Jane coming from the shadows all covered in red, and also the red paint scene was a decent scare, but I mean, it's just from Carrie. Still, that's it. So let's also go with 2 out of 10 for the scares. And hey, let's keep up this 2 trend, shall we? I want to give 1 bonus point for the giant basement in the rec center, like the giant cavern that for no reason. I love that. It makes no sense in all the best ways of film. And I'll do another point because I thought this was a tongue. So it's a point for me thinking about frogs in this episode. So 2 out of 5 bonus points, which leaves Andy with another pretty awful story. And another pretty awful score of 6 out of 25. Last season, Tucker surprised me with a sudden appearance from Sardo. No Mr. accent on the dough. But this season, I was ready and expecting the mad magician to make an appearance, and with Tucker's next story, The Tale of the Time Trap, we'll get the final Sardo story in the series. But unlike most stories with Sardo, the person who stumbles into his shop is someone from Sardo's past. A disheveled man walks through the streets until he enters the familiar wizard's shop. But after a moment of shock, Sardo realizes that he recognizes this intruder.
It's me, Bobo. Bobo? Bobo. Bobo? Bobo. Bobo? Bobo. Bobo?
We don't get much regarding their backstory, but it's clear that Sardo and Bobo are old friends and know each other well enough that Bobo is comfortable asking for a favor.
Sardo, I need your help.
Well, anything I can do.
I need money.
Well, almost anything. I distinctly said almost.
I love Sardo so much. I love you. I love you, Sardo. I love you so much. His deliveries are so funny, and it's been so great to see him stuck in his ways every single interaction that we've gotten with him. He's a character that never learns his lesson because he's just somehow always bumbled his way out of his magical misadventures, and it is so great. Anyway, Bobo asking for money. Obviously, Sardo backtracks on his willingness to give his friend assistance, but then Bobo tells him that he doesn't just want cash, but he wants to sell him a trinket that he's acquired in exchange for cash. And we get a clear showing that Sardo and Bobo went to the same bargaining school before they joined up as magicians.
How much do you want for it?
$50.
50?
I mean 40 for you, my friend. $40.
That's too rich for my blood, Bobo.
Free.
After literally giving the box away, Bobo gets real happy, like suspiciously happy, so happy that he laughs in his old friend's face.
And this is funny because...
This is funny because you finally are losing on the deal.
So that was our little preamble for the episode, and now we'll head to the next day and meet our main character. Another familiar face. This time he's playing a kid named Jason, but dude, it's freaking Jay Baruchel again. I think it's Baruchel. I know it's not Baracle. I said Baracle last time and I was wrong. People corrected me. I think it's Baruchel. But I had no idea that this guy was so prominent in Are You Afraid of the Dark? We see him this time as a kind of nerdy kid who gets bullied in gym class when everyone is playing dodgeball.
Loser! I hate this game.
He might hate dodgeball, but you know what he doesn't hate? His crush. Yeah, he's got a little thing for a girl named Andrea, but he's too shy to ask her out.
Hi, Angie.
Hi, Jason.
Yeah, I was wondering if, if you weren't doing anything Friday, you might, wanna... I gotta go.
After school, Jason almost runs into Andrea, but gets too shy again and decides to run into the nearest shop to hide from her. So that is how he's introduced to our favorite wizard.
Hiding from someone?
No. Yes. I'm sorry.
Wait! I can see you're the shy type. Trouble with the ladies?
Yeah.
We get a little showcase of trinkets, but I've just got to point out that he hides a bottle of Sunny D with his magical stuff, and I don't have anything else to say about it. I just wanted to point out the Sunny D. Sardo grabs the box that Bobo sold him the night before and says that it's a Persian warrior victory box that warriors would use before battle to gain confidence.
Imagine what it could do for your love life.
He says that all Jason has to do is put his hand on the box and speak what he desires, and then the box will help that thing come true. One gripe I've got with this episode is that we don't see Sardo bargaining here. Jason walks out of the shop with his box in hand, and this is the only line we get about the pricing.
Confidence like this doesn't come cheap.
Well, what if I don't believe it works?
Well, then maybe it will come cheap.
Just cheap. You know, not a price that starts high and ends in pennies. And at least we got something from Bobo, I guess, but one last hurrah would have been nice, Sardo. When Jason gets home, he's quick to use the box as instructed.
I wish that I was the kind of guy that girls like.
Nothing happens, but we see the box move and magical music happens, and it glows a little bit, so... Okay, I guess something did happen. And the next day, this girl with white hair randomly shows up and hangs around Jason, and oddly, she knows about the wish that he made the night before.
But when they see you with me, they're gonna think you're pretty special. Isn't he a babe?
This girl says her name is Belle, and she also says that she will grant any of Jason's wishes, so she is a genie.
Zemi! It's yours now. Whatever you wish, I can deliver.
Just, leave me alone.
But of course, every wish ends up going awry. When Jason forgets his book report on Treasure Island, he wishes up a new one, only to find that it was written about the movie instead of the book. And this earns him detention. Then in gym, he wishes he wasn't bad at sportsing, so he's magically able to take down the whole team single-handedly in dodgeball. Only he also ends up hitting the teacher, and he earns himself a double detention. Jason wishes that he didn't have to walk home, so the genie magics him up a car, only before he leaves, the parking lot cop pulls them over, and there's a big issue.
Is your license or registration, please? Yes, sir. Where's registration?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Isn't this your car?
You think it was stolen?
While in jail, Belle tells Jason a bit about her past and about how now she's just this immortal wish granter who likes to have fun with people's wishes because that's the only real entertainment that she can get. And she gives a quick list of things that she's done.
Okay, look. Someone once wished for an exciting voyage. I gave them the Titanic. A kid didn't want to go on a camping trip. I exploded the volcano at Mount St. Helens. World War I? A reporter wanted an interesting story.
So she's done a lot of bad, and I know what you're thinking, but no, she wasn't the cause of World War II.
So, like, World War II?
Oh, yeah. Nah, wasn't mine. Nice work, though.
For an episode about a malicious genie and wishes, it's kind of unimaginative. Jason wishes himself back to Sardo's shop. He gets put in the middle of the street, but no harm is done, so a great twist on that one, Belle. Jason tells Sardo about the wish box, and man, I just love Sardo so much.
The problem is, it came with a girl.
And that's a problem?
Jason explains that the box is granting wishes for real, and so, I mean, Sardo is just fine with accepting it back because he wants some wishes for himself.
But no cash. Store credit only, right?
I have to mention this moment of Sardo meeting Jason's mom because I want to put this clip in the video.
Oh, this is Mr.
Sardo. No, mister. Accent on the dough.
He said the thing. No bargaining, but hey, at least he said the thing. When Jason tries to give the box back, Belle appears and stops him.
He wants it, huh? He can have the wishes.
But he gave it up. He can't take it back.
Why not?
Rules. I don't make him up.
Sardo's out of luck, and Jason will have to keep the box.
Man, I wish I was out of this nightmare. Uh-oh.
Nice one, Jason.
Changed.
Did I hear voices? Ah! Who are you? What are you doing here?
This is my house?
Yeah, I'm just visiting. This isn't your house. This is my house. And my husband's gonna be home any second. This just keeps getting better. You picked the wrong...
My, that was quick.
We're trapped.
Let's not panic.
Jason, no in the house. Come on out or we're gonna fire tear gas.
Okay, let's panic.
Jason just sort of panics and wishes that Sardo had a wish of his own in hopes that the genie wouldn't be able to mess up another person's wish. And I just love how instantly you can see the little Sardo angel and demon working away on him as Sardo starts to contemplate on what to wish for and how to get the most bang for his buck, until finally he realizes the perfect wish.
I wish I had 1,000,000 more wishes.
Then, Kazamo, Blammo, the genie swaps places with Sardo, and she says that this is what happened to her thousands of years ago. She also wished for 1,000,000 wishes, but those would be the wishes of others. So now she is free, and Sardo has to take her place as the new genie of the box. What a crazy twist and a really tough problem to solve, right? Are you ready for like the lamest resolution to a Sardo story that we've ever gotten?
Mark,
I
I wish it was yesterday.
I wish it was yesterday. Just Jason wishes that this episode never happened, and that it's yesterday, and instead of going into Sardo's shop, he talks to the girl that we've all forgotten about by now, and then the episode is over. It's man, it's kind of a bad ending. We do see that Sardo puts the box in the window of the shop, so someone else is gonna have a genie adventure, but we're not gonna see it because this one's over. If Sardo wasn't in this episode, I think I might not have liked it. Even with Sardo, I think this one was pretty rough. I wasn't a big fan of the story. We've seen tales of wishes going awry, and they're usually really fun, but this one felt like it had run out of ideas and was scraping the bottom of the wishing barrel. The genie was a fun bad guy, at least the idea of her was pretty fun, but she wasn't much of a character beyond having white hair and hanging out around Jason. I was really intrigued with the setup with Bobo and would love to know that whole story, but I mean, then we got a pretty mundane tale with a rushed and what I think is pretty bad ending, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to go with a 3 out of 10 for the story. And for the scares, well, what scares? There's a part when Jason tries to be left alone that is a little scary, and then maybe the police standoff is a bit intense, so let's just go with 2 out of 10 for the scares and call it good. And then there's the bonus points. Obviously, I'll be giving a point for Sardo. I wasn't a huge fan of the episode, but everything Sardo was still great, so he deserves all of the bonus points in the world. I'll also do another for the introduction of this episode. I think it was a really strong start, and it got me right away interested into what was going on in the episode. So let's give that a point and leave this one with 2 out of 5. So Tucker and the Tale of the Time Trap will end with a total score of 7 out of 25. We've only got 2 episodes left in our search for the best storyteller in the series, and the remaining stories will both be told by the youngest member of the Midnight Society, Vange. There's no reason that she ended up with the final 2 stories, it just sort of happened this way with my scripting, so let's hear from Vange with her first story, The Tale of Many Faces. The characters and initial premise of this one feel familiar. We've seen this sort of dynamic a dozen times in this series, where we have 2 friends, one with all the talent, the good looks, the athletic ability, and one who is just an average plain Jane. That's what we get with our main character, Emma, and her friend, Jessie. We first see them trying out at a fashion shoot, and Emma gets instantly denied, while Jessie ends up becoming the headliner for whatever the shoot was for, fashion magazines, I think. Anyway, after the shoot, Emma is so down on herself, and it's actually pretty sad how self-deprecating she becomes.
Are you okay?
Sure. Hey, congratulations.
You'll get the next one.
With this face? Not likely.
Don't say that.
You're beautiful. Yeah, right. Since when is thin lips and a big nose beautiful?
As she's talking about her terrible features, a pretty girl walks up and introduces herself as an assistant for a woman named Madame Visage. The Madame runs a theater troupe, and they saw Emma and think she could be perfect for a role in their upcoming play.
Who are you? A talent scout for the Madame Visage Theater Company. Go to that address, see if you like it. Are you serious? Very.
So I've mentioned things that feel familiar, things that we've seen and may expect from this series within the episode, but once Emma goes to the location of the theater and gets inside, she sees this girl, and I straight up jumped when I saw her mask.
Excuse me.
It's so creepy. It caught me so off guard, and then Emma turns and sees another girl also wearing a similar mask, only this one says that she was expecting Emma and beckons her into a parlor where she's told to wait for Madame Visage.
What's with a mask? We're rehearsing a play. Oh, cool.
So Madame Visage is a big fan of Emma right from the start.
You are stunning.
Indeed.
She has Emma do a few poses and facial expressions and declares that she has the perfect face for the lead role in her new play. She's very careful with her words there, suspiciously careful.
How did you know my name? Your face would be perfect for the lead role in my new play. The lead? For real. But only after the right preparation.
Visage has Emma go home and apply some powders to her face for some preparation, and Emma is just thrilled to have the part, so she doesn't question anything. This next part is so funny. We get back to the fashion shoot, but this time when the photographer sees Emma, he's stunned by her new beauty. But it was really funny to me because while she's taking pictures, Jesse shouts like, way to go!
Yes, perfect.
Way to go, Emma.
Okay.
Yeah, way to go, slay queen. I love that. They're cheering for someone's pictures on the sideline. That's so funny to me. So Emma has some new beauty and Jesse asks what her secret is. She tells all about Madame Visage and the powder, and Jesse clearly wants to learn more, but Emma has to leave, so that's gonna be a rain check. Back to the Madame's parlor, she sees Emma's improved looks and approves.
Spectacular. She's ready.
And, of course, here's where things start to twist. Masked girls come out and grab Emma, and Visage flips through the pages of an ancient book, one filled with images of multiple faces. A face book. Look at all her friends.
What's this? These are my other faces.
This part, well, it is pretty scary and really disturbing.
No! Get away from me! Get away! Get away! They're much better. No!
I don't know what to say. Madame Visage steals faces and leaves behind just this blank, horrifying flatness with a little pucker mouth. This show still got it.
Face! You took my face!
So all the girls are wearing masks because Madame Visage stole all of their faces, and when Emma gets her new uniform, she finds that she is face number 94. Emma meets another girl with the number 87, and they become fast friends. Between them, there's a lot of conversation, and it's actually really interesting. They talk about how a face is more than just an identifier. Without a face, no one can tell if the girls are showing emotion, and if they have no emotion, then they can't possibly be human. It's a cycle of thinking that has led to most of the masked girls just accepting their fates, and over time, they've lost themselves and become the non-human servants that the Madame is forcing them to believe that they are. Isn't that awesome? There's just this little bit of philosophy about what it means to be a human snuck into this episode of a kid's show about a woman who steals faces. For a little extra drama, Jesse followed Emma to the theater, so she's here, and Madame clearly wants to add her face to the collection as well. But that's all I'll be talking about Jesse until the end, so we'll cut back to her. Emma learns number 87's name, which is Lizzie, and Lizzie even shows her face in Madame's Book of Faces. But they obviously aren't supposed to be in this parlor, so one of Madame's assistants catches them and threatens to tattle.
Back off, 94. I'm not 94. My name is Emma. And I'm gonna see what's in that cabinet.
So while the crony runs to tell, Emma unlocks this cabinet and finds Visage's punishment book, and a really old-looking book with an ancient face inside. We've heard a little bit about the punishment book from some of the other masked girls in the episode. We're told that it's pure torture, and if you're taken there, then your face will never be seen again. And I love that inside is just the screaming faces of all these girls. It's so fun. After Madame gets told, she runs to stop the intruders and captures them right away. Now, Jesse is back in the story, by the way, so everybody say hi.
I want to leave. That's not me, Jesse.
Visage reaches for the punishment book, but before she makes a move, Emma declares that all the girls need to remember who they are and come together to regain their lost humanity.
Listen to me. She took your faces. She didn't take who you are. You're still in there.
Unfortunately, Visage still has magic, so she just zaps Lizzie into her punishment book, despite Emma's speech.
Okay, now this is getting bad.
It's so funny that Visage just says, nah, and just zaps her anyway. But her victory isn't too sweet, as now the other girls decide to pull a Spartacus and come together to take down the witch.
Who are you? I'm Hillary. I miss my parents.
Quiet. None of you are to speak again. Bring me the punishment book.
The faceless girls grab Visage and give her a taste of her own medicine.
What should we do? I think it's time we gave Madame Visage her own face back.
No. You can't do that. It's not my face anymore. It's 300 years old. Ah!
I just want to say, everything about that was awesome. Her becoming a skeleton and screaming in fear because she knew that getting her age back would just be death. Like, man, that's so good. With Visage's death, the girls all get their faces back and all the punishment book girls are also released. And then Emma and Lizzie re-meet, but now with faces. And last thing before the episode ends, Vange took a bunch of masks to the Midnight Society meeting, so we get this great clip as the story is closing.
So it doesn't matter what mask you wear. Beneath it, you're still you, and no one can take that away. Said, the end.
I think this one was really fantastic. Like I mentioned, we've seen stories about this sort of friend dynamic, and we've seen stories about witches using other people in some way in order to keep their own youth. So it's great to see that these familiarities have been played with and twisted throughout this whole series, like even right up until the second to last story. Everything outside of Madame Visage's theater was, I don't know, kind of just okay. But while inside everything was so cool, those masks are creepy, and the whole concept of having your face and humanity stolen away is really fun to think about and would lead to such a terrifying curse of a life. The biggest negative that I have for the story is the ending. I'm not a huge fan of the trope of having a speech be all that people need in order to come together. It's just a personal thing, really. I wish it got a little bit deeper with it, but even so, I'll say that this story deserves a score of 8 out of 10. And I got scared multiple times, so yeah, it was a pretty scary episode. Those masks are perfectly uncanny, and then without the masks, dude, the faceless are nightmares. The punishment book is also really scary, and the way that Madame Visage turns into a skeleton at the end there, like, I loved that. This one had a fear that I think could stick with you if you had watched it at a young enough age. I'm thinking that we'll go with an 8 out of 10 for the scare score as well. So now, just a few bonus points. The faceless, I hate them, I love them, they get a point. I want to do another point for the Facebook. The happy and the punishment books are both really great, so we'll give each of the Facebooks a point, and I'm thinking one more for the little bit of junior philosophy we got with the whole concept of what it means to be a human. I really liked that. So 3 out of 5 bonus points, which leaves Vange's first story, The Tale of Many Faces, with a total score of 19 out of 25. And let's hop right into our next one. Once again, here we are. The final episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and the final story in our search for the best scary storyteller in the entire series. You already know that Vange is in that storyteller's chair, and this episode is called The Tale of the Night Nurse. They aren't overly similar, but it is fun that the original series and the revival both end on episodes with themes that revolve around healthcare. The original, we had The Tale of the Night Shift, and this one is The Night Nurse, so they also got the night thing in common. I don't know, two things in common. It's kind of cool. For this story, we aren't going to a hospital. We follow two sisters named Nikki and AJ as they're dropped off at their grandpa's house while their parents go on vacation. The grandpa seems like such a sweet man. His line deliveries are incredibly genuine, so like half the time it didn't feel like he was acting, and I don't know, it kind of made me think of my late grandpa, so he definitely put a smile on my face each time that he popped up on screen.
Girls!
Grandpa!
My two angels.
Oh, let's get you out of this cold.
This episode wastes no time in getting the story started. As Nikki and AJ are having a snowball fight, they see a woman and her young daughter walking towards Grandpa's front door. But then AJ throws a skew snowball and Nikki ducks, causing it to careen straight at the strangers. Only when the girls look, the strangers have vanished.
Where'd they go? Inside, I guess.
They head inside to apologize, but once they bring up the strangers, Grandpa says that he has no idea what the girls are talking about.
There's nobody here.
But we just saw a lady and a boy.
I said there was nobody here.
Grandpa gives some looks and has a worry in his voice, so it's clear that he knows something that he's not sharing, but we'll find out more about that in just a minute. This next part is one of my favorite scenes that we've seen probably in the whole series. AJ wakes up in the middle of the night, hearing the commotion of a party going on downstairs. But as she walks downstairs, in the living room, there's nothing but a dark room and a lit birthday cake in the center. And then she turns around, and in a giant mirror on the wall, she sees a reflection of dozens of people all around her. This is some great horror. The setup, the atmosphere created by the cake in the dark room, the eerie smiles of the partygoers in a room that we knew to be empty, it is a chef's kiss of a scene. The next morning when AJ tells her sister about it, obviously she doesn't believe her.
What a shame, 12 years old and already demented. I am not.
In this scene, we also learn that AJ is allergic to strawberries. That is an important detail, but probably not for the reason you'd think.
What now?
AJ's allergic to strawberries. One bite and it's bloat city. It's disgusting.
A bit later, she sees a young girl holding birthday presents while struggling to walk down the stairs. She watches as the girl drops her bracelet, which causes her to fall before she vanishes. With this, Grandpa realizes that the ghosts won't be leaving his grandkids alone, so it's time to clue them in on the story of the birthday girl and the night nurse. When the grandpa moved in, the old tenants left a bunch of stuff in the attic, so over the years, Grandpa has gone through it and put together the story, so that's how he knows all of this lore, by the way. The birthday girl ghost was named Emily. As we saw on the day of her birthday, she tripped and fell down the stairs, but that isn't how she died. She was injured from the trip in a way that was severe enough that Emily's parents had to hire a nurse to come and take care of her, especially at nights. They hired the night nurse. Unfortunately, instead of taking care of Emily, the nurse decided that a dead patient is much easier to care for, so she filled a hypodermic needle with poison and killed her. Alright, do whatever you want with that, I don't know. The nurse died in prison, claiming that she was innocent until the day of her death, and after the story, Grandpa warns the girls not to bother the ghosts.
Now that you know, I don't want you girls messing around where you don't belong. Let the dead rest in peace. Understand?
So of course, the next scene, AJ and Nikki decide not to leave the dead alone. They hold up a birthday cake hoping to summon Emily so that she can tell them whatever unfinished business is keeping her here as a ghost. But instead of summoning Emily, they accidentally call forth someone terrifying.
Suddenly, I'm feeling really dumb.
Time for your medicine.
The night nurse has made an appearance, but she vanishes, so the girls are safe. For now. They go back to the attic to search for clues to help them get to Emily, and as they're reading articles, AJ decides that she should try on Emily's old birthday dress. Just thinking about this thing being all dusty and covered in cobwebs, like, it makes my nose itch, man. But it does something much different for AJ, as she finds that once the dress is on, she's transported back to the past, and everyone here now believes that she is Emily, the birthday girl.
Emily, bring your presents downstairs so you can open them. Me?
She runs upstairs and takes the dress off, and once again appears back in the present day. But the night nurse once again makes an appearance, and this time she also believes that AJ is Emily. And she has a little dose of poison just for the birthday girl.
Uh-oh.
Not afraid of a little needle, are we?
She wants to give us the poison. Not us. You.
The nurse does such a fantastic job of being scary. Needles and white coat syndrome already give nurses the potential to be horrific, but she's also got such a great maniacal face. The girls lock the nurse out of the attic, cause ghosts care about doors in this story, and they come up with a plan to go back in time and save Emily from dying.
And if the nurse never shows up, then she can't murder Emily. Right. And if there's no murdering nurse, then there's no ghost of a murdering nurse. And we're saved. Excellent.
It's their only option, so AJ puts on the dress and becomes Emily.
All I gotta do is not fall down the stairs.
But it seems that this fall was intended as fate. As AJ goes through the same sequence, her bracelet falls, so she puts it in her pocket, which causes her to lose balance, and then she tumbles to the floor, injured just like Emily. AJ wakes up a little bit of time later, but she's still in the past, and now the night nurse has her as an official patient.
Time for your medicine.
AJ tries to run and hide, but the night nurse is constantly one step ahead and always appears behind AJ whenever she thinks that she's escaped.
You can't hide. I know all the secrets of this old house.
Finally, AJ is cornered and the nurse intends to treat her no matter what.
Take your medicine.
No, I won't let you poison me.
This is for your own good.
Is that what you tell all the people you murder?
Murder. Don't tempt me. One little pinch, and the penicillin will make you all better.
No, I won't let you. Get away from me.
The word penicillin rings a bell for AJ. This is the first time that the medicine was specified in the episode, but AJ saw penicillin before, when she had become Emily and dropped the bracelet on the stairs.
Wait! Emily's allergic to... I'm allergic to penicillin.
Allergic? No, you're not.
Yes, I am. See, it says right here.
Don't you ever take this bracelet off again. Do you hear me?
The nurse here has so much fear and remorse on her face and in her voice. It's clear that she didn't know, and she understands the danger that she just put this young girl in.
I didn't know. You might have been killed.
Her acting is so good here, and as AJ stops the injection, she's able to take the dress off and return to her time. We do see that the events of the past apparently changed, so everything with AJ was 100% real, and now Emily is alive. So great job changing the timeline there, girls. And with that, the final story of Are You Afraid of the Dark comes to a happy end. I like this one. I definitely didn't love it, but it was entertaining and pretty interesting. I like the time-changing shenanigans, but I will say that I think Emily's fall and her story in general were kind of weak and not very well thought out. I liked everything with the nurse, but when she wasn't there, the episode was mostly okay. I'm thinking, for the story, let's give this one a 6 out of 10. But I did find this one to have some really good scares. The night nurse is a fantastic villain. Even though it turns out that she wasn't really a bad guy, she still plays a great antagonistic role. She was the majority of the scares, but there's also the scene with the mirror and the birthday cake in the darkness. That was like a 10 out of 10 scare, so let's give this one a pretty solid 8 out of 10 for its overall scare score. And that will leave us with just some final bonus points. Let's do 2 for the actors that we saw in this one. I really liked the night nurse, and then also the grandpa was great and genuine. And then I'll do another for that birthday cake mirror scene. It's seriously one of my favorite scares that we've gotten in the series, so definitely a point there. And that's going to be 3 out of 5 bonus points, which leaves Vange and the Tale of the Night Nurse with a total score of 17 out of 25. This series has been such a joy to cover, and it's all led to now. Before we figure out the stats of the series as a whole, let's talk about the results of this final revival season to figure out the best stories and scares from the finale. In this season, every member of the Midnight Society gave us 2 stories. There were only 10 episodes in this season, so it's the first and only time that the numbers were all able to work out evenly. My least favorite story this season belongs once again to Andy, with the Borefest called The Tale of the Last Dance. That's 2 in a row, Andy. 2 for 2. Oof. But maybe the oof's on me, because my favorite story was the other one told by Andy this season, with The Tale of the Photo Finish, which I could rave about more, but this is not the segment for that. That was earlier. I loved this episode so much, and I gave the story a full-on and well-deserved 10 out of 10. The least scary story of the season belongs to... well, it's a tie. It's a 3-way tie, sort of. The stories of The Laser Maze, The Time Trap, and The Last Dance all got scare scores of 2 out of 10. But 2 of those stories belonged to Tucker, so 3 stories tied, but only 2 storytellers tied. Choosing between these 3, I'll say that I think the Tale of the Time Trap was probably the least scary of the bunch. Sardo always adds an air of whimsy, so an already not so scary episode with him added is just a way to make it feel a little bit silly. And apparently, I was really just in a tie-causing mood for this season, because the scariest stories of the season also got a 3-way tie. This time with the tales of the Reanimator, Many Faces, and the Night Nurse. I gave them all scores of 8 out of 10, but the tie for this one is much easier for me to break. I think that Vange and the Tale of Many Faces was the scariest episode this season. Reanimator was a close second, but I think those strange faceless girls and the uncanny masks will definitely win it for me. And that just leaves the total. Taking all the points together and adding up all the story, scare, and bonus points, my least favorite episode of the Revival's 2nd season belongs to Andy. I hate to kick a guy when he's down, but man, I just did not like The Tale of the Last Dance. I don't like being bored. And this one only totaled a 6 out of 25, so yeah, that's a pretty rough score. But just like with the stories, Andy's total for his second tale was phenomenal, and he took my place for the favorite episode this season as well, with the Tale of the Photo Finish. That one had so much character, so many cool ideas, fun effects with the black and white stuff and the giant out the window thing, plus it was scary. It came together to be such a great episode, and one that I will definitely recommend to someone who's trying to get into the series. And I gave that one a score of 21 out of 25. And that's everything. We have all the numbers. We know about all the stories and scares from all 88 episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark? We've met and heard from all 14 members of the Midnight Society, and now we can figure out once and for all the answer to the question that started me making these videos. Who tells the best scary story? in Are You Afraid of the Dark? We already broke down the numbers from the original series, so now we can add the revival episodes into the stats and get the new Midnight Society members into the comparison. One major thing to change due to the revival episodes is my least favorite story and episode in the entire run of the show. Previously, I had plenty of issues with Tucker, especially his tales of the Midnight Ride and the Manaha, but the revival introduced us to Andy, and he gave us the tale of the misfortune cookie. That episode is it's the definition of lazy. It's an unimaginative and boring take on the classic trope of wishes that go awry. I didn't find that story to be interesting, and I found no scares in the episode, so that one ended up taking the rear for the entire series with a score of 4 out of 25. Some honorable mentions for my not-so-favorites are the previously mentioned Midnight Ride and Manaha, but I also really disliked Megan's Lunar Locusts and David's Tale of the Hatching from all the way back in season 3, which each only scored 9 out of 25. My favorite episode for the whole series didn't change. It's still the Tale of the Ghastly Grinner. I love that one. It got that 24 out of 25 score, but since that didn't change, let's also look at my favorite episode from the revival series. Tucker, Quinn, and Andy all told stories that scored 20 or higher for their totals, so the favorite will clearly be from this group. Quinn doesn't quite take it. His tales of the Wisdom Glass and Vampire Town both scored 20 out of 25, and I loved those episodes, but they weren't quite my favorite. Tucker and Andy each gave us stories that scored 21 out of 25, so the choice will be between Tucker's The Tale of Bigfoot Ridge and Andy's The Tale of the Photo Finish. Anakin Skywalker versus the Skinwalker, going head to head against a black and white photographing kidnapping ghost boy. I love that both of these premises are in the same show. Like, what an awesome series. I love both of these episodes. I'd be happy saying either of them are the favorite and leaving it at that. So I'll just use my personal bias and love for stories about skinwalkers and uncanny beings and Star Wars take my heart for this one, and we'll give my favorite episode over to Tucker and young Skywalker with the Tale of Bigfoot Ridge. And now I'll force Dino to do his impression of Jar Jar Binks to celebrate.
Me, Sir Jar Jar Binks.
Now let's find the averages for the Midnight Society members and see if any of the placements changed due to the added storytellers of the revival. Unfortunately for Andy, there is a change for the last place, and he will be taking up the new worst score. He told us 4 stories throughout the revival, and 2 of them scored terribly: The Tales of the Misfortune Cookie and The Last Dance. It's unfortunate, but his short run did land him with a very low average of 11.25. After Andy, in 13th place is still David. We haven't seen him since the end of season 3, but his average score of 12 has kept him pretty comfortably towards the bottom since he left. Next, in 12th place, is the only member of both Midnight Societies, Tucker. He added 6 new stories to his run, giving him 13 in total and changing his average ever so slightly. Previously, he had an average of 13.6, but he's done some work and really brought that up with his new batch of stories. So Tucker's new average is 13.84. Yeah, I lied. He didn't bring it up that much, but he brought it up a little. 11th place goes to another revival member, Megan. She gave us 5 stories and averaged 14 for her total score. I don't really have anything else to say about Megan, but I did hate her tale of the secret admirer. That's one of the most frustrated I think I've gotten with a story in this series. I just hated seeing so much wasted potential in a story. But anyway, 10th place goes to the missing man from season 1, Eric. He's pretty comfortable with his score of 14.5, as it hasn't changed for over 6 seasons. 9th place will be Vange, the youngest member of the Midnight Society. Her first season with the zombie dice and virtual pets I thought was pretty rough, but then this season with the night nurse and especially the many faces, she definitely won me over. She told us 4 stories and averaged a score of 14.75. In 8th, we've got Kristen. I still think about the tale of the Hungry Hounds all the time. I think that's the episode that made me re-fall in love with the series while beginning to work on these videos, so it's going to have a special place for me for a very long time. She gave us 5 stories and averaged a total of 14.8. The scoreboard doesn't change for the next few scores. Kiki is in 7th place with her 15.5. Sam is just above her in 6th with a score of 16. Then Frank in 5th with 16.1. Betty Ann in 4th with 16.2. And Gary will now be in 3rd with his score of 16.3. Which means that there will be a newcomer taking the 2nd place. Yeah, Stig still wins 1st place by like 1 billion points. All right, it's like not even a battle. I'm so sorry, guys. I tried doing different versions of averaging to try and get like a closer score, and Stig always won. Stig just always blew everyone else out of the water. So the battle was for 2nd place, and it has changed from Gary to Quinn. Quinn gave us some great tales. I loved how multiple of his stories had bad endings, and he was definitely someone who focused his stories around horror. He told 4 stories and averaged a score of 18.25, which is really phenomenal, and is only beaten by Stig's 1st place incredible average of 20.5. But Stig is a special case, so it's definitely high merits for Quinn. This means that Stig still holds the crown and the title of the best scary storyteller in Are You Afraid of the Dark? The complete series. All right, that's enough. Thank you. Bill, come here, bud. You want to say bye? Thank you guys so much for watching through this series with me. I'm sad to see it end, but I'm so happy that I got to make it. And as for what's next, well, hopefully an idea will just fall out of the sky because, well, I've got nothing. I said maybe something will fall out of the sky. Dino, fall out of the sky. What's this? Goosebumps. I wonder, will Goosebumps actually give you goosebumps? Thank you again for watching this video. If you're looking for an extra way to support the making of these videos, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can check out our merch or become a member for early access on some videos, like The Tale of the Silver Sight, which is available right now, and full members get their names read out, just like all of these beautiful people. Thank you to S. Hala17, Nana Bonsai, Sage, Ranma 0029, Teresa Raskin, Bance Dadley, God's Daintiest Goral, Jessica, Nicole, Kenneth D, J, JR Cillian Green, Brian Wiggs, Kevin Solo, Nelson Rat, Vivi Blasto, Chris Ovac, Paul A, Sarah, JT, Jordan King, VS Mantis, Joseph Caldwell, K, Rory Bonklife, Zerbleen, April Farmentino, I was like Emilio, Bogmeyer Sandman, Queeby, Korokula, Zed Sazigi, Reaver Approach, Shelly March, Matthew Girding, Nick Klaus, Dino Keys, Stinky Boy, and Igor DaCosta. And I guess that's all I have to say. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Smile for the birdie.